Okay.
Pleasure of meeting all of you.
It's a couple minutes after 6, we're going to call the meeting to order. And we'll do a quorum check, and everybody is here except for Tina. And she let us know ahead of time that she wasn't going to be able to make it. Okay. Now to citizens to be heard. We have lots of citizens today. Do you want to be heard? Okay.
Kim Eichelhart, 736 Garden Meadow Drive. And I'm here to talk about the land that's about to be sold. There's been a lot of discussion thus far, lots and lots of discussion. And my only concern is that Parks gets everything to which it's entitled. Okay, that's the only question I have. That is my only concern. So if you look at it, the original cost of the 38 acres was $1.84 million. Then we sold back 6 acres and got $475,000. That left $1.365 million. 1.36. If we didn't pay a single penny on it over the last 3 years, the balance would be $1.36 million. The balance outstanding on the 2015 bond is $1.52 million, more than the balance on the land. Okay? My concern is this. The finance director guy, March 15th at City Council, he had a little footnote 3 on his finance plan going forward with this 2022 bond proposal. And footnote is his assumption number 3, preliminary analysis assumes the city utilizes available parkland sale proceeds to defease its existing Series 2015 bonds in 2022. Doesn't say part of them. How is it that there's more outstanding on the bond than the original cost of the land, less the amount of the 6 acres that was sold? It's because the 2015 bonds stemmed from the 2007 bonds. The 2007 bonds were refinanced in 2015. The 2007 bonds were from an election, ordinance number 584, a total of $5.01 million. There were 5 propositions on the ballot. Proposition 1, animal care and control, $1.2 million. Proposition number 2, fire department, $445,000. Prop 3, police station, $935,000. Prop 4, Pavilion Drive, right-hand turn lane, $350,000. Prop 5, parkland. Now this is interesting because parkland contained North Lake at $1.8 million, Gothic Park at $120,000, Northview Park at $120,000, and closing costs of $37,000.
Ms. Eichelhart, I'm sorry, but I'm not keeping up with you, so maybe we can visit at some point if you would.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep up with you. I'm going to warn you. I'm a little bit behind you right now. I'm keeping up.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
So,
okay, so anyway, there were 5 propositions on the ballot in 2007, one of which was parkland, and the parkland one actually had 4 elements to it. Okay, and even if you assume that all the closing costs were tied to North Lake, which was the biggest park project that was part of that, there were 5 different propositions from that 2007 bond. My question is this. The city's going to loan the money to pay off the outstanding bonds. The city's going to pay it off, and then when we sell the parkland, we pay the city back. Are we paying the city back only for North Lake? Or are we paying the city back for Pavilion Drive, Gothic Park, Northview Park, the police station, the fire department, and animal care and control? That's my question. Is it right that we're paying for the police and the fire station with park revenue? That's the only question that I have. I'm just trying to say that the most money as possible that can come to the parks should come to the parks. And that is it. So I apologize if that's confusing. I apologize if I've lost anybody, but I just don't understand the numbers. Everyone's been talking in words, but nobody's been talking in numbers. How much are we going to pay back when all of this settles out? End of question. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other citizens that want to be heard? No? Okay. On to our agenda items. Okay.
Previous minutes.
Did everybody get a chance to look over the minutes? Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I didn't have any trouble with the minutes themselves. There are a few typos, and I just wondered if we, and it's all very obvious what it's supposed to be. Obviously, the computer was fixing stuff, and so it interpreted things differently.
Let me know.
Do we need to go through all that?
No, if you write them down, Judy, and just give
Okay.
it to her.
Yeah, they're typos.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just typos.
and then they'll just approve the minutes as noted from
Okay.
you.
Then I wish to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
With Judy's edits.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, now on to the business. The discussion on Veterans Park upcoming improvements. Randy?
Okay, so as you know, we've budgeted for the improvements. The one improvement is going to be at Veterans, is the large scale, I don't think I still have that poster. Is there a poster board over there, Veterans? No? Okay. I think we pulled it out of here. The large family pavilion. So we have the 5 smaller ones that are out there right now that are available for rent, which people are this year have been calling quite a bit about using. We have the family one. All the family ones are being really popular, especially from Northview and Meadow Oaks, and then also our Red Horse over here. So we will get this one. I'm after them give me a schedule when we're going to have the equipment. It seems like everything that we're ordering these days are taking months and months to get. They keep pushing delivery dates back and all that. I just want to break ground out there. I just want to get somebody at least put in the foundation. But so I'm kind of after them about that. So here soon this summer, I anticipate us going into May, June, that we should be hopefully started on that pavilion out there to break ground and start erecting it. So that's the one improvement that we will make out there. So and then next year when we get down to the future improvements on item E, I'll discuss what else we'd like to do over there and stuff. So, but that's the schedule right now. I'm still waiting on the date. So as we continue in the upcoming months, I'll keep you all abreast of the latest schedule that I'm receiving on our play equipment there.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add on?
Is it just the play equipment or is
I'm
the
sorry.
actual?
The pavilion,
Okay,
the large
sorry.
family. Did I say playground? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was
Yeah.
like,
I'm used to always messing with the playground. So.
Okay, ready to move on to discussion on Cimmaron Park upcoming improvements.
Okay, so this is another one that is in queue. The order's been placed. And just as a reminder, I'll pass these down to where you can see what we're doing at Cimmaron. It'll show, the first page will show the playscape. The next one will show the pergola. And then the next one will show the layout of the playground that we'll be placing over there. So if you're not familiar with the Cimmaron Park, we have the exterior and the interior have been remodeled. Everything's been done at that location. We've done the landscaping out front, trimmed trees, put in landscaping. So the back, and we've also paved the parking lot. So the only thing left is the actual playground out there. And so that's what we budgeted. If y'all remember, we put it in there. And so that playground has been placed on order. And if y'all want to pass this that way, and here, if you want to pass that way, everybody can see it. Those are the improvements that are coming. So I look for veterans to get started first, and then followed by this improvement, which for that neighborhood should be a big attraction, big improvement, because what they have out there right now is not much, to say the least. So it's the original 19-something, 1990s equipment out there, I would say. So can't wait for that neighborhood to get those improvements done out there. So I will again keep you abreast of those improvements when the shipment dates and I start receiving all that stuff, so.
Okay, great. Okay,
Well, let me
anybody,
see if they have any, let's see if they have any.
anybody have any questions or anything to add about item B?
I'd just kind of like Randy, since we have a crowd, to
Mhm.
explain the grant money that you got for this, to do our parks.
Well, currently, the ones that we just recapped is we had the Meadow Oaks, and y'all were at the ribbon cutting of Red Horse. That was the grant that we had received from the Texas Parks and Wildlife. It was a split grant to where half of it funded the Meadow Oaks, and then the other half was there. And then here's our sign that we actually have to place at both locations. That we got federal assistance through the U.S. Department of Interiors and administrators. So these are the signs that when they come and inspect our project, that I have to have posted out there. So we are making the request. We got one sign. They got to give me another sign, and we'll start placing these out there. And then they'll come give us our official inspection of both locations.
That's for which parks, Randy?
Meadow Oaks and Red Horse, the both groundbreakings that we just did for both, yes.
When they do the inspection, are they looking for certain things to be done, or is it just?
They're making sure everything that they funded, that we put in, that are out there. And then I have to have the ADA inspection of making sure everything's improvements to the grades, the elevations, that everybody can get to it out there as well. So excited to have that project wrapped up.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, discussion on upcoming parking lot improvements at Red Horse Disc Golf Park.
So we have in the budget also, with the cost of the asphalt and materials, I had to actually scale down the project, so we have enough. If you're familiar with the the disc golf area over there, we get a lot of traffic going to the disc golf. So the area where they park will be putting out to bid to improve that area first. That'll help alleviate some of the parking that happens on the roadway there. Eventually, we'll need to, because they had a tournament last weekend scheduled out there, so I don't know how it looked as far as vehicles and stuff. We did open the backside of UC Park, so they could put a lot of parking and traffic, everybody playing and turning back there. So eventually, when we plan out, my goal is some of the proceeds that we do get from when we do sell the property, that we use some of that money to go after Texas Parks and Wildlife grant that will actually go towards UC, so we match, right? So it's a $500,000 grant. I can put up $500,000, and then Texas Parks and Wildlife will match it. So that is a goal of mine. It is nothing that has been approved, but that is what I'm hoping we will do with some of the proceeds that we get from the sale of the land. So, that is yet to be determined until the property actually sells. So until that happens, and then we go to council, because that would take us to do a resolution and all that good stuff. So there'll be a lot of things going before council to even go after these grants and stuff like that. So because if we put up $500,000, then they'll match $500,000. I got $1 million to make improvements to that one park out there. So, and that is our biggest park, so it's going to take the most money to put towards it. So, and they don't like, and the Texas Parks and Wildlife don't like to build parking lots, and there's a lot of parking to put out there. So I got to find a way to balance some of that with revenue and then the grant improvements of the playscapes, the shelters, the playgrounds, all that good stuff out there. So, but that's a project down the line. When we start once we start hitting our neighborhood parks, finishing up that's where we're trying to get to, right? Finish the neighborhood parks and work our way back to Universal City Park. So back to Red Horse. I kind of got off a little bit. Red Horse. So we're doing the disc golf parking lot. The next year on budget for the area, the alley that backs up to Boulder, to where we put in the new playscapes to pave that and add parking So that way, when you're going through, because I already see it happening, I knew it was gonna happen. Currently driving down the alley, parking into the grass. Some of them are driving almost up to the playground, so. So somehow I gotta kind of rope that off to keep them from driving on the new grass that we just planted there. But eventually, we're gonna have that marked. We're planning to do something temporary until we have the funds to actually make it a true parking lot on the backside there. And then we want to rehab the existing alley that's on the other side where the pavilion is and the existing parking lot. So that's kind of like my 3-year plan for the parking lot over there, as funding allows, right? So if I get the funding, I get to do it. If I don't get the funding, it doesn't happen. I have to keep pushing it back. So, but that is the plan for the continued improvements to Red Horse out there, as well as some other items that we want to do at Red Horse as well. And I'll get into those details when we get to items E. So.
Anybody else have any questions or?
If the funding doesn't come, because you said Texas Purpose Hall Life doesn't like to build parking lots, where does the funding usually come from? Is that something that does come from like UC Parks?
So it'd come from the general fund.
General fund?
Yeah, it'd come somewhere from the general fund. Either I budget for it or we have any, usually it's a budget item, right? So just like I do roads, streets, it would be an item. Just like currently the parking lot right now is our CIP project. So it would be, a parking lot like that would be in our CIP project. Capital, CIP, how's that canceled?
Yeah.
Capital improvement projects, I'm sorry.
All right, anybody else?
Could I ask a question? Have we ever considered living parking lots? Have we ever tried one?
What's it called?
A living parking lot where you put like little cinder blocks that have holes in them and things can grow and gravel as opposed to like a real asphalt parking lot?
The quick answer is no, we haven't done that yet. Hasn't been done.
Not with the cost of asphalt.
Well, we can look into something like that.
Okay. Item D, discussion on future basketball, pickleball courts at UC Park Pavilion.
So I'm excited about this one. So as you know, we had some residents that came to us requesting us to look at a sport that is greatly picking up, and I've been finding more and more about it, is the need for, even for the seniors that play pickleball, they would like a pickleball court in Universal City. They currently use our Universal City Pavilion, and they come out and they set up, and they did it for the audience here. They did a presentation with the Parks and Rec Board one night and showed the pictures and showed them playing it. Shirts has done it at their pavilion. I think it's happening in Olympia at the tennis courts over there currently, but it's only for the Olympia folks that live up there. I know there's, have you ever went to the restaurant Chicken and Pickle? It's a huge place, I've been there. And that thing's always packed out there. But this would give residents another opportunity, especially the group that were here, were a lot of seniors, and it was something they would love, and they really wanted y'all to consider this. So that was something that we looked into, and I got with our Parks partners, which Lori is here tonight to help us with this. And so one of the things that was offered from Parks Partners is if we could do this, which yes we can do. I looked at making that pavilion. Currently, it's rarely used for rentals. The day-to-day is pretty much basketball. So what I looked into, and which I found, is basketball is being converted to dual-use sports. Still basketball and pickleball. So I looked into that. There was already drawings of it and stuff like that. And you can actually, the presentation, they showed us that. They showed us that we could fit 3 courts on our current pavilion floor over there. So I had Regina work on a drawing how this would look, color scheme, laying it out, stuff like that. And then one of the assistants, I'm gonna get Lori on that. You want me to throw it out there now?
Sure.
Okay. Lori and her parks partners have offered, and with the assistance of a donation, to sponsor this right here, the coloring of it, of the pavilion, yes. So they would actually sponsor the funding of doing this, you want to see it that way.
Kind of a matching funds, kind of what you do.
Yes, yes, it would be, they would go in together on the cost of doing this, hiring a contractor to do this work out there. There's no one on basketball.
Full matching, pretty matching.
50/50.
So, we are currently looking for a vendor, because not everybody has A&E Plumbing and Parts Partners in their logos in their database. So, we would have to, I gotta get somebody, because the current one that does it, that did Meadow Oaks and does stuff, he doesn't do logos, so I'm trying to find somebody that could do these logos. And then we'll pick up that cost for the logos for this. But I thought that was generous of y'all, and thank y'all.
And A&E Plumbing,
Because obviously, this is something that's not budgeted in my parks budget, so.
that's what we're here for.
Yes, so,
Well, that being said, let me give you half the cost. And then I'll collect the money from the other sponsor
okay,
after they give approval and
thank you.
all of that, so. Well, people like to move too.
Yes.
Not me, but I just did.
Mike and Ken are two different things.
Yeah.
So obviously, we'd have to put this in a reservation system and stuff like that, so that way when the people come out, we'll have signage like we do at our pavilions that, with the pickle courts, which one they've reserved and stuff like that. So everybody knows, when it's not reserved basketball, you can come there and play anytime basketball and stuff like that. And, or if you want to reserve for pickleball, then they'll have it. So it'll be a multi-use pavilion. And then some other things I haven't brought up, I'm going to talk about under item E. So.
You ready to move on to number?
Well, any questions? Anybody got any questions?
I'll just say, I think if anybody in the audience was interested in the original presentation, I believe it's in the October minutes. If you're interested in who it was and what it all was all about, there's pretty easily notes. I'm pretty sure it's October. I think I had to go back and look at it last time, so.
Yeah.
I just want to make a point. Kim and I had a conversation. She explained it before I could get out there to explain it. Parks Partners money is 100% fundraisers. We have events once or twice a year, and each year it grows more and more because people are actually seeing the results. You give me money, I spend it. You see the results. So hopefully we're going to be planning. I'm waiting for my counterpart in crime to get back moving around, but we'll have another one again this year. And so Randy will come up with something and say, we want to do this. I don't have the money for it, and then we try to put things together for them. We have put shades over playgrounds, but the cost this year went from $35,000 to $75,000 a shade. I'm not that good. I'm good, but I'm not that good. So we diverted some of the funds to the pickleball, but we still have other funds that we can come up with. But I'm always trying to find someone to match me. So, just so you know.
Thank you and Cheryl for all of your hard work.
Oh, geez, we get to party so hard.
Okay, Randy, future city park improvements for fiscal year 2023.
Okay, before I go with my wish list, I want to ask y'all so right now I'm preparing for our upcoming budget. So this is the time that I always come to y'all before I start preparing the budget. What improvements does this Parks and Rec commission would like to see. Do you like how we're going park by park, like we're currently doing? Is there anything you want me to change? Look at different items at different parks, adding different things at the different parks? Because I know I bring y'all the drawings that we always put together, but I didn't know if there's anything specifically that y'all want me to look into, the price or stuff like that at any of the parks. So this is y'all's opportunity to put me to work. So.
I think what you're doing is great. I mean, Red Horse is wonderful. And so far what I've, of the veterans is great.
Mm-hmm.
The pavilion will make it even better.
Okay. Yes.
I agree. I like to take my grandkids to the park, and
Yeah.
we have wonderful parks to take them to.
Judy, anything?
We need a playscape at Veterans. There's a few other things I'd like, but I dream big.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt to dream big.
You got anything?
My daughter loved Red Horse. She went out to the new stuff at Red Horse and was all over it, so
Okay.
she was very excited about it. My other one's 12 and it's
Yeah.
different, but she pretends she doesn't like it, and then she'll just play with her sister. So, yeah. But no, I mean, so far I like how you doing, kind of park by park, but yet there's always something going on at multiple parks. So,
Yes. That's what we're trying to do.
and I probably still more to learn about parks that exist that maybe I don't know exist. So personally.
So currently, this is the items that I'm starting to work on. So we'll be doing that one pavilion. I'm working right now with one of the playscape architects doing a military theme for the playscape at Veterans.
Okay.
So we're working on something. He's shot me some emails of some things that were done in Missouri and some other places, just to give me some ideas. So I have that going right now. And playscapes are getting more and more expensive every time I make a phone call. So I have that in the works, so that you'll be seeing something coming for that. So we'll try to get that, the next thing done at Veterans would be that. And then we're almost quite, it's a debate whether we want to do the amphitheater, but that we were saving that to last. But the playscape was the next thing in line, get the pavilions done, and then we start with the playscape. So that one is what I'm working on next. Northview, we are pretty well done at Northview with the improvements out there. Just, we're just keeping up with everything. A couple more things I want to do with the soccer field. We're trying to get that grass established real good and fix the goals out there so it's a really good functioning soccer field. So really, I'll be looking at improving out there, and that'll be my staff doing a lot of that work. Moving on to Red Horse. So Red Horse, I look at the park split in two, right? You have the drainage channel going down the middle. So we concentrated, I would say, on let's call it north and south. We concentrated on the south end with all the improvements. So we had the original playscape up there by the road on north. That's for the smaller age kids. We put 2 pavilions in, smaller family size pavilions there. We had the outdoor classroom that was put in there, and then the larger for the older kids playground as well. We have 6 exercise stations at that park, and I've been getting a lot of compliments. I still have my guys working out there, and everybody that walks it has been praising us about the exercise station. So it's kind of like you build it and see if they use it, right? And they're using it, so I'm happy about that. So that gives us a gauge if we want to do more of those. So now I'm targeting the north side, all right? So I'm looking at making improvements to the existing pavilion, giving it a facelift. Looking at, we have, what I've done at Northview, if you're familiar with Northview, the playground that's closest to the library the big play structure and the swings, a lot of that I rehabbed. And some people don't know that, but I rehabbed those. If you go to Meadow Oaks, there's the original playscape that is closest to the drainage channel. That is the original. I rehabbed that one, and then we built the new one. So what I'm doing is I looked at the swing sets at Red Horse that's close to the Pavilion, and I looked at the one slide, and there's a kiddie thing. The kiddie thing we're going to get rid of, but I'm going to repaint, recoat the swings, and those are in good shape. No need to buy those. The stairs going up to the slide's in perfect condition. It's just the color's just faded, so I'm gonna get that coated. So I'm looking at putting those back. I have another piece that's sitting out here. It's an original piece that was at Northview. I just didn't have room for it. It's already been painted. It's just been sitting out here for a couple of years now because I didn't have a place. It just didn't. It's a orangey looking color, so it didn't fit in with anything I was doing. So that, I'll probably put that in that area over there and just add some smaller little kid riders or something there. So we'll make a little kiddie area right there using existing equipment that we still have here, repurposing them is what I'm trying to do. So we'll put that in there and then add like I had a gentleman and it's already asked me about horseshoe pits and stuff like that, and I said, yes, sir, that was in my plan, because there's a site, APC, that I'm looking at, and it's actually concrete. So if y'all are familiar with cornhole or stuff like that, it's actually concrete, and it's stationed there, so nobody, I mean, I guess anybody can take anything, but you can't walk it down the street, put it that way. So we're going to look at stuff that's kind of permanent structures that would be there, that if they're renting the pavilion, they can use. And then, so that's the improvements I have left for Red Horse. And then this foundation, if you've been on that slab, it's a perfectly good slab, except there's a lot of cracks in it. So we want to seal up those cracks. I'm going to take off the center block, and we're going to put a more modern rock to it. And then the biggest thing is I have birds in there all the time. So building nests up in there. So we're going to enclose that and then rock the columns to give it a facelift and stuff like that. So that's my plan. I got a landscape architect that's working with me on giving me some numbers on what we can do there. So that's one of the items I'll be looking at putting in there. And then at the Pavilion at UC Park, with this this layout, if you play basketball and this is the way the Pavilion is out there right now, the sun doesn't do anything to you if you're playing this direction, unless you're looking at the 5 o'clock, the sunset this direction. So this is an area that what I'm wanting to do is we currently have tables that sit out there for people that rent, right? But if we're going to have pickleball and we have groups, right, there's really no place to sit. There's nothing out there because we're kind of moving the tables out to make everything work with what we're trying to do here. So my plan is to make improvements to that pavilion as well, to make it, one, make it more attractive, two, make it more make it more usable with the type of use that we're introducing here. So we would actually have, what I'm looking at is with our roof, currently you got the roof is coming down the sides so much, and then having an awning that goes out both sides with the slab extended. So that slab would be extended, it's going to come out and then go down. It'd still be open. It does one of two things. It prevents the sun from beating in, which if you're playing, that's a benefit, and staring at the sun. Two, we'll put all the tables or bleachers underneath that awning portion there. And then if anybody had a party, you can actually rent it, and if you wanted to have a deal, and you can actually have your table set up for birthday parties if you wanted to have a pickleball party or something like that, or anything like that. So it makes it more usable. I think it'd be, get folks that come in and that do want to rent it and use it that are not within the city and stuff like that. It'd, make it more attractive as well. So that's the one thing that I'll look at doing at this one, to enhance that pavilion there. I looked at it, it was that pavilion was dedicated in 1989, I think it said. Something, or no, I forget. I was like, it was actually dedicated when I started here, and I was like, I don't even remember it being built when I was here. That was weird, but, but we have, that's what I'm looking at that particular part. And so that's enough as far as me putting in stuff, because I can't push it, but eventually we'll be completing Northview's done. If I get the Red Horse stuff done as far as playscapes, that would complete Red Horse. The veterans would be pretty much done other than the one piece. And then I want to work our way to Athenian. Walking trail, fixing that trail out there, maybe doing, Councilman Yost back in the day wanted some small, and I still remember when he was on council, wanted a place for people that walked around could sit and stuff like that, little small pavilions, nothing huge or anything like that, but just doing something for that area over there. And then by that time, I'm thinking we're master planning UC Park. Coming back and master planning that. So, and there's a lot of work to go into that part, because we would actually, it would, not the front half, but where the pavilion back would take a whole another look. And a bunch of big ideas, what we can talk about when we get into that planning stages. Our vision, what we want it to look like, and stuff like that. The other thing that's in the works is there's a bunch of the cities around us are going into are talking about the Great Springs project, and that's connecting, it's a walking trail. It's a trails project that connects from Austin to San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And so they've been after me about participating, and I've been the long holdout so far, and something that in due time I will contact them on, because they've approached me before and I've been in meetings, and the trail that we have out there now, out of everybody that we've talked about doing, I'm the one that actually put the trail in, and so I'm not ready to jump into something that they just talk about and not do. So, but the other project would be to connect, because we are connected to veterans to UC Park. The next phase would go from UC Park all the way going to Selma, into Selma city limits. There are consultants that are willing to do this work, grant work for all of us cities, and that's the talk I have to have with the consultants to see what participation, because it would be a funding grant that they're going after. And then I just need to know what kind of commitment they're wanting from us, right? So, because right now I'm going to prioritize our improvements for the parks before I participate in something like that, unless it's not much of a match or something like that to go into. But because if they're going to prioritize their stuff coming this way, and then we're in year 8 of whatever phase of that project, I can get that thing done sooner than they can. So, so that's discussion I still got to have with them and everything. So, but those are the items moving forward for this commission is what we'll be working on, and some of the things I'll be putting in for my 2023. But there's a lot of things happening. The other thing I will be looking at, and the last thing, is I'm currently looking at, because we do have it in our Parks Master Plan, if y'all read the Parks Master Plan, is to our lake out there, that's part of, that wasn't part of the bond for the parkland that we have out there in North Lake, it's right off of North Lake, there off of University Boulevard. that pond is gonna remain part of our park system. So, we are going to look at improving that area and putting in walking trails around it, building a parking lot so you can get to it, because one of the items was fishing, right? We had where you can go fishing, have a place to go and stuff like that. Because we've been working with Tucson Parks and Wildlife to, because there is nice bass in there and stuff, but they won't come and actually put fish in it until we introduce the people to it. So you gotta have, it's kind of like if you've been to Live Oak, everybody can go to that lake, park there and go fishing. Well, I have to make it available for fishing, but to do that, I actually need to clean the area out, actually put in trails, have trash cans there and all this before we can actually, and build a parking lot, the roads, so people can go there and do that. So that is a future improvement that we are looking at for that particular park as well and stuff. So, so those are all on the books. A lot of this is planning on me to get numbers, get all this together, and then figure out a way that we're, bring it to y'all look at it, and then introduce it into the budget and see if it's something that can or cannot get funded, because not everything we submit, as you know, gets funded. So, and being the cost of everything has gone up, there's probably even some of these things like it's going to be tough to get funded this coming year. So, but I'm excited with some of this future stuff. So I love seeing that what it looks like now and what we've done, right? So we've had these openings and stuff like that, because that's been my goal, right? It's like, I know I just need money. I just need money. I would love to fix. I just give me the money, we'll fix it, and that's what we're doing. So yes, because I hear all the complaints, and I'm like, yes, I agree with you. I just need it. So here we are. So I've been given the money, and this is what we've accomplished thus far. And so and I hope we keep that train going, right? And so we'll introduce those items into our budget, this coming budget. I got the people that are helping me bring in those numbers, and we'll see. I'll fight as much as I can to try to get what I can and stuff like that. So, and that's all I got.
Okay,
That's
thanks,
my story.
Randy. I appreciate your determination in getting things better.
Yes.
Okay, commission member items. Janet? Judy?
Nope.
Can I ask a clarification on something from the last point though? The walking trail you're mentioning, so I'd heard of like a biking trail that went from Austin to San Antonio. But
It's the same thing. It's a trail program, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
walking, biking, anything you name it, and they're trying to introduce all the cities into it to make it connect.
Yeah, I know they've been working on that for a while, but they did connect, I think, it was to San Antonio, if I recall, like a big long cycling loop, so. But I just wanted to clarify there wasn't like a second trail.
Now this one, yeah, they got an actual plan. They got a plan showing it and stuff. So they kind of got ours highlighted where it would go. So
And where would ours go, just like?
through the creek, into the creek.
Oh.
Currently, where I have it, they're using
Yeah.
the one that we
That you
built
have.
already, and then they're extending it into Selma because Selma wants to do theirs. But I met with Selma, I met with Schertz, and we all talked about doing it together, and we're the only ones that actually did it. So.
Okay, anybody else?
I just want to say, I remember sitting with you 7 years, 8 years, 9 years ago, where you were sitting here on my plans. I don't have money for this. I don't know if I'm ever going to get money for this. And
I had great plans, but no
you
money.
had great
I had great
plans.
plans, but no money.
But now you're sitting here going, I got this park done, I got this park done, I got this park done, we got the splash pad. These were things that were just something on paper that you were thinking about. And just kept working hard and harder with the budget and everything to get it done. I think you've accomplished an awful lot.
Yeah.
Parks have changed.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get it done because they've been sitting there for so long, right?
Long time.
A long time, and they're finally getting the attention, and then by the time you finish the parks, then it's time to circle back around to the other things, right? So all the, I had this place built in 2005, I think it's out there, then, or 2002, 2003. Then the animal shelter, library, extension of the fire department, extension of the city hall. And so we did all the facilities now, and I said, well, the parks is a facility, it's just not indoors, it's all outdoors, so.
But we've gone from some pretty ragged parks to some really beautiful areas.
Yeah.
Yes, we have
Is
for
Gothic
sure.
Park on the horizon?
Yes, so that one is, this commission has said, let's fix what we got now. Even council said, let's fix what we got now before we start something new. So I think once we get all the existing ones, and if the train keeps going where we can do it, then yes, it's part of our plan.
All it takes is money.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so.
Nobody else has anything, right? Commission member items? Nope. Then we are adjourned.
I want to thank everybody for coming. We never have an audience like this. Thank y'all.